Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Nick Gennusa, welcome back to ATV Talk. How are you, man?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for taking some time. I know how busy you are, and we've been trying to connect this for a while, but I think we picked a perfect time because this episode is going to come out the day or two before your big event. Let's dive into it. You've told me a little bit about it in our pre, but I want to hear it right from you. How did all of this start with the phenomenon of racing pit bikes?
So the pit bike scene plays a big part in my life and heart, obviously, for quite a long time now. I think I got into pit bike riding mostly on the dirt bike side of things, actually, first almost 20 years ago ish. I think I got a first dirt bike at 10 or 11 years old, just as I was racing quads, but on the side. And then I got hooked to it. Followed a lot of it for years, was always into doing mods to the bike or whatever I can get my hands on at a young age. And then what I got really into at a young age was track building. And the property I have now wasn't how I started. I started with we had like less than an acre property where I lived till I was 16. So I had like a small oval track, shovel built for years. And then my parents moved to a town 30 minutes away, and they moved to, it's a residential area, but more wide open. And that was 6 acres. But when you go from 1 to 6, it's huge. So I made a little bit even bigger track there. Not anything I could ride a 450 on. It would just, in New Jersey, you need quite a bit more than that without making people aggravated. And put a really cool track together there. And I think what opened my eyes is we did this event in 2014 at Millville, Minnesota, and they had a pit bike event Saturday night after the pro racing. And I already knew how much I was into it, and I did the event that day. And I was so obsessed with the track that day that later, and this was like towards the end of our national series that year, I opened my eyes a lot and was so hooked on it. And I said, I looked at the size of it and it was so cool. I was like, I can make this or a version of this in my backyard. Then a lot of things I had to have come together. And, I think I was 19 at the time. I had to be 10 years ago. I'm 29. So I had to have a lot of things come together on that 6 acre lot. We're talking people into a bulldozer. And I remember this guy helped me with his dozer, and he said, tell me what you want. I need you to draw a track. And I think that's when I really started drawing them and got obsessed with like the layout. And I really understood how to come up with something, use the space efficiently, and come up with a track that's flowy and fun. So after I had built this caliper track, it was only a matter of time where everybody started coming, friends wise, and all the time. It was an every weekend kind of thing for probably, I don't want to say it wasn't very long before we ended up doing, hey, let's put a small race together with no hopes of it, getting to what it is right this second. It was just something I truly followed and was passionate about. And I think it was just something. It was easy because I liked it so much, and it was easy because I enjoyed it. It was fun. My friends were there. I didn't have to put much together, but I had the track, and I had like say 20 people at our first event, right? So this started as a dirt bike only event. For the first 3 years, it was 110s only with like 2 different classes. And then I think it was year 4. I was riding my TRX 90 a lot when Star posted videos. And then I got to have a hats off to Chris Borich, who helped me out quite a bit. And I have a pretty good relationship with him, and we were smack talking, and who was better on a mini quad. And then I think it was that year this is year 4 where it blew up, where I went from, say, a 30-40 person event to then it was like, say, 150 to 200. And I got CST involved, said I got this really cool backyard event, mini quads. Quite a few people are coming, some pro guys. And I asked for like very little help. Like I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Like they sent me some track merch, a few $100, which was like so cool at the time because I didn't really understand much about the event planning and stuff. And it was so much fun and went so well that I did another 2 years there, 5 and 6, even bigger. But then quickly outgrew that, my parents' house, and a couple things came together. I mean, I'm skipping over major stuff, but then I built my house I'm at now, and I went from the 6 acres my parents' house are at now to the 60 I'm at now. So that 6 to 60 acres opens the doors for a million more things, not just the size of the track, but the size of the events. And I think that's where I took this, and now we're in the 450 to 500 people range with 160 signups in a day, with a lot of sponsors involved, a lot of help, a lot of money dumped back into the event at this point for cool obstacles. And I'll let you talk. I know I've talked for like 10 minutes, but I think it's just one of these things where it sounds kind of corny, but I never, like a lot of people get the dream, but it was never something that I really wanted it to be this big. I just 100% just followed something I had a lot of fun with, really enjoyed, and just constantly wanted to make it better every year. And it was so easy because of how much I loved it. And not one bit of it has that like felt like work along the way. And tough to see on video. If you come to something like this, I know you're West Coast, but every single person that's traveled for this, I think, had their mind blown of the place, the track, the event, how it was ran. I'm not tooting my own horn with it, but it's something that you got to see in person. It's really cool, and it might not be as exciting. It's mini quad racing, but come here and it's pretty exciting when you have that many people involved and a lot of pro guys. So
I bet it's awesome. But let me ask you this, not to change the subject, we'll get right back on it. Is this going to lead Nick Gennusa into the evolution of being a track promoter and possibly going from professional racer to a guy that has a track that promotes it for a national level race, because you do race ATVs professionally, and now that you know how to put on an event, can you do it at that level?
Your quick answer to that is yes, 100%. But I can't do a national size event here. I'm interested in that, and I'm not at the same time. I think what I have going here so far is good. It can be even better. We do club memberships, yearly memberships for the year. We take a handful of guys. We do 1 or 2 pit bike events a year, and quite a few open public ride days, track rentals, parties. I stay very busy with it. So my answer is yes, this is 100% what I'll be doing when I'm done with racing. But holding bigger races than pit bike stuff, no, I don't think I can in this area. When you're talking about that many 450s, I have 60 acres, but I do have neighbors too, and I couldn't pull something like that off, nor would I try. We do decent now, and it could be way better. Like any business, it could be way better. But there's a million more things I'm going to try to do in the near future, within the business. But not ATV national, but continue ATV training, continue ATV club memberships, along those lines for sure, if that makes sense.
So if I had a track and I wanted a guy to come in and run the promotion, would you be the guy? Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, Score, Best in the Desert, ATV MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs.
If you had a track and you wanted someone to come in, like if it was yours,
Yep.
is that what you're asking? Could be. Yeah. I mean, what I do now, like I said, I've rented the track out to people on the big bike track mostly we have, and then the pit bike track I've rented out separately. I just wouldn't do a race. I'm not scared of the workload. I'm just scared of the, if you really knew the state we're in, New Jersey, it's hard to pull certain things off, and we've pulled enough off here of stuff we're allowed to do, and and we're allowed to, we're allowed to ride, we're allowed to have, events like this, but I just wouldn't hand off a national to somebody else. It's big, but I don't have the parking for a national. I have the parking for 500 people that are mostly coming in trucks and, vans and small trailers for the day. But
So what if I got a track in Florida and I need a
okay.
guy to promote the race?
Oh, I could
I
definitely
need
do stuff
somebody
like
to know
that.
how
Oh,
to
well,
guy.
if that's what you meant, I could absolutely do stuff like that. No question. No question.
That's what I
Uh,
meant.
yeah, no, I've really enjoyed that. It teaches you a lot. But sorry if I misunderstood that. But to
That's
that,
okay.
absolutely, I would do that. It
So
teaches you a lot, you know.
is this what you do for a full-time job, or is this just a hobby?
The track, no, this is 100% what I do for a full
Really?
time. And I dabble in other stuff. All within what I know. I mean, I don't go outside my box, but I make that box pretty wide with certain things. And I get into some buying and selling, some bike squads, work on quite a few side projects here. Um, but I rent quite a few quads out. I have 8 or 10 TRX 90s right now that, two of them are like my personal ones, and then I have right this second probably 8 more that I rent out. People rent them. I think you'd be surprised. And I do with that now here, and I want to get into some bigger stuff, but it's hard to rent 450s on a big track because it comes with such a more risk. And the TRX 90s, of course, you can get hurt on them, but you're talking about a quad that's in the $3,000 or $4,000 range that you can rent for a couple $100 for the day, with, for the most part, low risk of injury and liability. There's always a liability. I understand that, but with a 450, you're talking wide range, $10,000 to $20,000 quad with a lot more risk because it's a faster, more dangerous track. And the mini quads, I mean, I think a lot of people have slept on them over the years, and I've turned it into something, pretty decent for what it is. And I think I've tapped into another market, with CST. When I was with them, I have a bigger thing coming out next week with Kenda of a new 90 tire that I've been working on with them for 10 months. And it's funny, this interview with us will come out right before my event, which is right when that tire will get released, because I have the only 2 sets in the US right now on a mini tire, which is really cool because it creates demand. And that tire is not available yet. I'll be racing with it next weekend. It's not that it's anything special, but the sizing is special because it's the sizing that they didn't have, that CST had. And the Kenda group has been such a pleasure to work with. And I didn't want to come in once I signed with them and point fingers and tell them this isn't good or that. I just simply wanted to be on the same caliber and continue to grow with the company that was willing to listen to me of what something needed. I feel like I can give great feedback, be very analytical with products when given the opportunity. And it's pretty sweet that they had pulled this off. And when you think about a tire getting changed, it sounds very simple, but all these tires are made in China. Everything is, believe it or not. Maxxis, CST, Kenda, they're all made in China, but they're designed here. If you want to get a tire changed, it's not just punching it in a machine and it's going to come out this size. You're talking about a whole different tire mold. And I don't want to say only, but I got a new TRX 90 tire made in only 10 months when this is mostly like a couple year thing to talk them into. I have that, and they're working on a new 450 tire for 2025, which is really cool. But again, to the mini quad side of things, I've somehow figured out how to get quite a few people involved, and in a way, with not sounding cocky, I feel like I've opened a whole market to this, to this world of, if the pit bike racing is good on the dirt bike side of things, the mini quad racing is our side of things, but no one has really done it. And again, it's not that I saw this years ago. I just stuck with something I liked, and I've noticed it over the years. I think I'm the only one doing it. So
Yeah, I don't know if
I enjoy
anybody.
it. And again, I'm not trying to sound, bigger than I am. It's something I've noticed. I think I'm the only one that's put a ton into that and have saw a really, really good return all around. Not just financially, just all around, and just the love of the people and how many people and companies are into it. You come out with a new tire, Kenda develops this new tire because they know they're going to get sales off of it, and it'll be great. So that's what it's about.
So, what day is the event?
November 30th. It's always the Saturday after Thanksgiving every year.
Awesome. And what classes do you have? And what's my entry
So
fee?
I have 10 classes this year. Normally I have 8. So it's 5 quads and 5 dirt bike classes. So we have a bike A and a quad A, and our A is our pro. So it's a bike A or quad A. That's the 2 fastest classes. Bike B, quad B. So we take our main 4, A, B, dirt bike, quad. That's your first 4. Then I have a girls quad class, a dad's quad class, and new this year I have a 200-pound plus class for quads. So you have to be over 200 pounds of weight to race that class. And I think that came from a couple of, I don't want to say complaints, but a couple of complaints / recommendations of, hey, we want to race with you guys, but us 200 plus pound guys can't keep up with the 100 to 150 pound kids on these TRX 90s. We want our own class. And I made the class, and it filled up quickly because I can only take a certain amount. That's 7. Okay. Then I have a 125cc dirt bike class, an e-bike class, electric dirt bikes, and then a dad's 110 class. So those are your 10. So we have a cool variety for the most part.
And what's the is entry fee the same in every class?
It's $50 every entry. So
Okay.
it's
Well, I could ride 2 classes then.
yeah, the only classes I don't allow people to do are a B and A together. If you're going to do a skill class, you got to choose one or the other. I can't have an A rider go and sandbag B. It's just everyone knows you can't do 2, but people still try to. But a quad B guy can race the dad's quad class if they have a kid. You have to be a father to race that class.
Right.
So
Well, I could race the
I
200
stay
pounds.
strict to the rules. I mean, I know this is a fun event with no money involved, but I don't come off those rules. And people constantly try to bend it for me. And as much as I might seem like the a-hole, I can't bend on it, because if it changes for one person, it's got to change for everyone. And then people know you're taking your event serious. And I think that's what, if you let too many things slide, you'll get walked all over. So I stay pretty strict with it based off experience.
Integrity. That's what this world needs.
Yeah, 100%.
That's
You know, the
that's
rules
so
have got to.
so I can go these guys, this is great. You got guys that can race that could spend $100. Is there a gate fee or just
No, that's it. So you're $50, and I've had a couple people, huff and puff, like, oh my god, $50, and I'm just like, I look at myself like, yeah, yeah, like, wait till you get here. Number one, you're gonna leave completely tired. You got your money's worth on the track, trust me. And number two, you're gonna be blown away. And every year, year after year, people don't say a word after the event. If it was half-assed put together and they feel like they got gypped, um, I feel like I feel like that would come out more. The same people, knock on wood for the most part, always come back, and it's just a bigger group, which means we're any money I've gotten, I've put back into the event. I mean, we've done a significant big jump in track edition stuff here from year 9 to 10. I mean, it's TV worthy, for sure, and that's I think my next biggest thing of just how to get, it's big, but it doesn't need to be bigger in person. It needs to be bigger on TV. You can only have so many racers, but how do you get something like that on TV to be bigger is what I think my ultimate goal is now at this point. Yeah, after
I
this, but
agree. What I
I
what I really need you to do, which I should probably tell you this off the air, is send me, 5 to 8 photos via email of your event, please.
absolutely, absolutely.
Because what's going to happen is this show's going to come out on Tuesday on the audio version, and then on that Friday, it's going to come out in the YouTube version. So that Friday night. So the people that are on the way to the race or that are getting ready to go the next day will be able to see and hear about it on YouTube. So anybody in the area that's a fan will be able to know what's going on and maybe show up and watch the race and take part in it.
Yeah, that would be really cool itself. And like you're kind of saying, it's really about who you're getting there and getting the right people there. I mean, this is a once a year event. It's our busiest one. Um, I've had the strict rule for years of stock exhaust for this just to keep it quiet. Just again, it's a big property, but I do my best to be respectful to the neighbors. And it's tough to make everybody happy. I do my best with it because I'm appreciative. But I'll tell you, a couple people on 450s could be louder than this event. Is when you have TRX 90s, they're pretty quiet. So it's
Right.
we've gotten good. No flashback from the township. The actually the one of the township event committee guys who is in charge of their township day, which is enormous in this town. Like 11,000 plus people go to their. If you know what I'm talking about. Like certain towns have a day. Like this town's named Jackson, so they have Jackson Day here. And the guy who runs all those is coming here. He loves it. He wants to come watch. So again, it's just something that you're getting really important people and someone like that. Like you got the town behind you, that's an important part. That's huge.
So here's a thought for you. I don't know if you follow politics at all, but a deal came out in some of the conversations that they were talking about in the what they want to change is they want to have a world fair.
Hmm.
So they want to bring in Ohio, they want to have the World Fair, where they bring or a state, United States Fair, so that they take all the states and they come to Iowa and put on this huge fair once a year.
Huh.
You need to have your race during that fair.
Oh, that would be insane. That would that'd be crazy. I feel like I follow enough. I mean, I'm not like crazy with politics, but I watch everything quite a bit. I just feel like I haven't even heard that, or that must have just came out, or I live under a rock. One of the two.
I heard it the night of the election.
Okay, so it's new. I just feel like I haven't heard that though. But yeah, wouldn't that be cool, right?
Oh, totally. That's the first thing I thought. We got to have an ATV race during that fair. I mean,
Insane.
you know,
It'd
yeah, it
be,
would be.
I don't know. That seems like it's got to be some big event. It'd be like a Woodstock. Who knows?
Well, you got
All
all the
over.
states there
Yeah.
showing off what every state can do, and then putting on an ATV race in the middle of it, to showcase really our sport.
Right.
But then you could take and even put the pit bike challenge in there as well, and have a race in there, and that would just be awesome as well. And
So
you're
where is
already,
that? Iowa or Ohio? Which one did you say?
I thought they said Iowa.
Okay. Right on. I don't know. That'd be cool though.
Hey, I'm game. Let's do this.
Oh yeah, why not? I mean, to your point, with future stuff like that, if you wanted me to come and promote stuff, absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoy it a lot.
Well, that's I think one of the biggest thing is, and let's just hash it out right now. One of the biggest problems with our sport in ATV races is promotion. The only guy that's really doing a great job, is Briarcliff.
100%. 100%. And I think that video spoke, or not video, I think that event spoke volumes for the sport of, is it really that hard, or this is the only guy that's actually trying, is Jeremy Osborne. And he did a phenomenal job. And I'm not saying it was easy on his end, but you can see when someone puts the effort in how successful the event can be for the sport and money wise. I'm not here to count his money, but I'm sure he killed it that weekend, as he should, because he did all that work. He was willing to take the risk. He was willing to put it on, all the promoting, get the people involved. I hope the guy made $1 million. That's how it should be. He's,
I agree. If you're
you
going to
know
do
what
the
I
work, you just make
Yeah,
money.
that's what happens. It's not, I don't want to say it's not rocket science, but that's what happens. My own event here is not that caliber size. I mean, he had 5,000 people. He can handle that amount of parking stuff where I definitely can't. But it's similar to me. Like, I do my own promoting for it, and what you put out is what you're going to get in return, for the most part. And what you put back in, people see. The right people see it and know it doesn't go unnoticed. If you're getting the same thing every year, people are like, been there, done that. It's just, it's the same thing. I think for me, I hope I keep coming out with these crazy ideas and track additions and new layouts. Fun fact, we've never raced the same Turkey Derby track twice. I've changed it every single year, whole new layout. And I'll always do that. Um, but it's new. And if you're not doing new stuff and innovating your own property and event, I think that's what makes it special, because it's not the same thing twice. It's always something different. And it keeps people wondering, on their toes, what's next. And I enjoy it. It's, again, goes back to the track building stuff I like, but we have a cool spectating tower I added, just always doing new stuff. And I think that the people see that, and that's why stuff gets bigger, is when event promoters put back in and they promote it, invest back into their facility, and the people will see it and come. You gotta have the dates got to be correct. If I put an event in the middle of the summer during the Nationals, it's never going to work. This event,
Right.
I think, is mainly hugely successful because of the time of year it's on. Nobody's racing. It's right after Thanksgiving. Everyone's home for the most part. So I think that's
So,
a
who are some of the guys that come out?
what's that?
Who are some of the guys that come out?
I know Dustin Wimmer's racing this year. He signed up for 2 classes. Chris Borich is racing as well, 1 class. Um, we have one of the guys on Travis Pastrana's uh, pit bike crew. They call him Joe Dirt. He Caleb Carter is his real name, but they call him Joe Dirt. He's pretty famous too, and he raced the Turkey Derby once 2 years ago, and he's making his return to year 10. And I have another fast kid here locally, and they're going to put on quite the show. He's somebody really cool because he's in with that whole Pastrana crew, and he signed up for the event. We have another kid, not a phenomenal racer or rider. He knows how to ride. He's not a pro guy. Duke Gomez. He's a really popular social comedian, influencer, online, someone local to me with a huge following, a couple million people. He's coming and racing, which is super cool. Regardless of his skill. I'm not saying he's bad by any means. I hope he doesn't hear this. He knows how to ride. He's not a pro guy. He knows how to ride, but he's got a big following, and he's bringing his camera crew that day and that's cool. He's gonna come, and he's got he's got people that watch his stuff, millions of people, and that's what it's about, is just getting the right people there. Who else quad wise? I don't think Hedrick's coming this year. I don't think. I'm not sure. I think right this second, I don't know any other pro guys. I know our pro class is filled, but AMA pro guys, I think your only one is Dustin Wimmer, who's past the pro mark 10 years ago. But
Do
I
you
think
get to race?
I do race
Do
this
you,
event. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are you ready to be captivated by one of nature's masterpieces? Discover the breathtaking beauty of Antelope Slot Canyon, a natural wonder in Page, Arizona. Join us on a guided tour and immerse yourself in the mystical light beams, rich colors, and serene landscapes. With tours at prime sunbeam hours, experience photographer's paradise and capture memories that will last a lifetime. Comfortable shoes, a camera, and a smile are all you need for this adventure. Book your journey today at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and let the canyon enchant you. Please visit us now, antelopeslotcanyon.com, for more details.
I'll race.
Excellent. You racing bike and quad?
I've went on and off. There was a point I was doing both, and then I took off a few years. I raced a bike and quad last year, and I plan to just do the quad this year and not the bike. It's just become so much work that day, and adding a second class to me means more track time, which it's cool to have fun and you got to be out there. It's also my event too, so I can't be on the. I don't say I can't be on the track too much. I need to be doing a little bit of everything else. It's even chaotic that I even race that day. When you see the amount of stuff I'm doing that week and that day, and I'm like the track crew guy, could be a flagger at one point of that day. We all have radios all over us. We're doing everything, and then I go run, get my helmet on, and do the moto, come back, work more, and then go back out when it's time. I mean, it's two is a lot when you're in my positions, but I'll do one. And there'll be a point eventually, hate to say it, where I probably won't even race it, and I'll just focus on 100% just the people. And I don't want to say I won't race it, but there's going to be a point where I'm not taking the racing as seriously, and I'll just go and spin a few laps in a couple of each classes. I'm not score myself and just duke it out with the people in there for fun, and just let them have the race and not be a part, just to have fun and show interaction with the people, but put more of the focus on the event than the racing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's evolution. It happens in every form,
Yeah, no,
That
100%. It's
that's
fun. It's really cool. We have a food truck that comes, 5 or 6 vendors this year. It's really cool. I enjoy it.
Is the food truck prepared for how many people possibly they could feed?
Oh yeah. So I had a problem. I mean, there's so much to think about when you have an event like this and this size. Like I had a problem, I think 3 years ago, and I had this guy with a food truck, and people were just waiting too long for food. And I think that what happened with that was this guy came to the property beforehand. I probably just looked like some guy, like, hey, I'm putting on an event here and I'm going to have 400 plus people. And I think he didn't take me very seriously. And I told him he's going to need some help that day, like 3 or 4 people. And he brought him and one other. And that was the first and last time I used that guy. Was he getting people their food? Yes. Was the food good? Yes. But it's not worth standing on a food truck line for 45 minutes. So I found a new guy that's done the last 2 years, and he's doing this year. I know him decently well, and I had a serious conversation with him beforehand that the last guy blew it. This is serious of amount of people. We've got to move this food fast. There's 450 people, and he understood the assignment, and I have not had an issue since. And that's why he gets chosen for the third year in a row to do this, because he's done really well. So
And every year your a volume of spectators goes up as well as racers.
yeah, we've picked up more racers this year. Um, I think I've just tested out my parking for the most part. The first year I was like, can I park this many people? And then I've slowly added more. I did a little bit of tree clearing, shifted a lot of things around in my parking lot, moved more stuff into the track area, which opens up the door for more parking. Um, Very hard to say how many people are going to come. It's in, last year was like 450. Most of them are spectators. It's only like 100 something racers that day. Most of them are spectators. Um, but yeah, it's a 400 to 500 range total right now. But man, what a cool feeling when you're racing your TRX 90 and you have 300 to 400 people watching you on the sidelines, and like a small track. Like it feels like you're actually part of something. And I'm not just saying that, until you participate in that event and see how like dressed up that track is with just the amount of cool things and decorations and like signage, hay bale covers. I have this crazy like over under bridge that we made this year for our finish line and this arch. I got tiki torches going up both sides, like going to be lit on fire. Like the little things are so like I try to be creative with, because if that stuff's in your videos, um that's what gets the eyes and the people like, oh, like what's that event? Like that looks freaking fun. That's not some backyard, put together, whatever you want to call it. This is legit. I mean, it's sweet.
That's
It,
so cool.
that outdoes the feel. Um, I hate to say that outdoes the feel than almost any national I've ever been to. When you talk, like, it's so hard to explain until you see how it's set up. I don't know how to explain it, but I know how to do it. It's just
I get
important.
it. I get it. So, but what I want you to explain to me, if you were going to sit down and go to the AMA or go to the meetings when they pick tracks, what would you say to the promoters, and what would you say to the AMA we need to do to boost the entries or to make the racers better? How would you get that to happen?
That's a trick question, because there's a lot to that. Where someone like myself, I have a 1 day event once a year. It's not a series, and to do it 10 races a year in completely different locations depends on a couple of things. If you look at Jeremy Osborne, yes, the series should be doing all the promoting. In my opinion, the track owner themselves, um, you're holding a race as a series at their track. He promoted the shit out of his event, and it was very successful. And I don't want to say he didn't need to, but he didn't need to. But he also understood the assignment and saw the return and know what it can be. And I don't think Jeremy's not in it just for the money. Jeremy's in it because he wants to see the sport grow. As far as the series, that answer falls back to them. I'm not saying it's easy. They have something, people could talk as much smack as they want. They have something that works. They've been around this long, through the highest times and the lowest times. They know how to survive the droughts of the economy or the sport. I don't know how they do it. I think it would be phenomenal if the numbers were bigger. Um, I'm not going to say and sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say I know the answer. I think it's a little bit of money, they'd have to put out into really getting the right people involved, and I think it's twisting the arm of each track you go to promote themselves, like Jeremy Osborne did. Now, I think that event's going to be hard to beat, and what made that event so big is because he had the Legends race. And that was a huge draw and factor to why that event was really big. You take say Budds Creek, right? Cool track, really cool track, in my opinion. Just throwing a track out there, for example. If they don't have that event, they're strictly just promoting the Quad National itself, which I'm not saying is nothing to promote, but the track owner, I feel like, needs to promote the most, because the people, what they want to attract is the fans, in my opinion. If we're talking about bigger events with fans, getting more quads to the races, whole different topic. Whole different topic. Get more people involved. There's a list of issues there. But more people to each track spectating, like we saw. I mean, we had 600 entries at Briarcliff and 4,500 spectators. It's legit. So those people, for the most part, are coming. I mean, I know people came from all over, but a lot of them came from kind of close to that area. So if you take a Budds Creek that's going to promote, most people are going to travel 1 to 5 hours. Not people aren't going to come from California to watch Budds Creek. Did they do it? Yes. But your niche is more of what's close to you. And I think, like, I look at my own Turkey Derby. Yes, people travel for it, 100%. But the most people that are signed up and all my spectators are all from New Jersey, right here, because I promote it, and this is my area, and this is where the people are going to come from. People do come from far, but most of the people, more than half, are coming from right in this area. So I think it's more of a, like I said a minute ago, it's more of each track owner to promote their own event, and just have a better attitude, maybe, instead of, hey, they're renting the track, I'm getting X amount, and I'm getting money regardless. That's on them to promote it. I don't care if they do good or bad, because a lot of tracks are like that too. But it could be really successful to them if they also promote it. I just think more fans at the races, I think a lot of people sleep on. I think just this whole sport right this second is so concerned at getting more people to race. I think like what nobody's thinking about is, why are we not focused on getting more people to just come watch us? Because when people are coming and watching us, you're eventually going to come across even more people. And the more people you come across, you're going to come across smart people too that get really involved, and that opens the door. If you're in the same fishbowl, you're only going to get so many ideas. Like, there's so many politics and money involved, and why these manufacturers don't make more Sport Quad 450s, only Yamaha. But why are we not getting more fans lining the track? Look at an outdoor dirt bike national. They got 80 riders between the freaking 250 class and 450 class, but you have thousands and thousands and thousands of spectators that are making each event look really badass. And I don't know. I mean, no one's talking about it, but people have to say it how it is. I think we should focus on getting more of a show, because maybe the manufacturers aren't coming in because our events just look boring. There's nobody there. There's nobody there racer wise. There's nobody there spectator wise either. So if it was more of a show and cool things, people would come. Cool things. Jeremy Osborne. Let's make a Legends class. It sounds so simple, but it was a genius idea. That's why everybody came. It's not rocket science. Look at my pit bike event. I do a lot of cool things, just cool attractions and this, that, like the huge freaking viewing deck I just had built. Like the little over-under bridge. Like, nobody has bridges. They're going under through a tunnel, back and over on their pit bike track. Cool things. Stuff people want to see. Eye candy. If it just looks cool, people are going to show up. You know what I mean?
Yep. I do. I totally get it. And that's what I think that element of what's going on with you is what's missing in the Nationals.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually somebody will take me a little bit more serious on that side of things for the promoting. And I think a lot of people get, the other end of the stick when they are afraid to call out the facts. And a lot of people, I'm not here to hurt your feelings, but I'm not here going to tiptoe around your feelings. I'm going to say personally what I think, and not to bash anyone, but you got to just hold back too much with a lot of things in life. You're not going to get where you want. If you're just a little bit more assertive with everything and stay strong to get your point across, eventually certain things click. And now I'm not saying everything, and it's not the answer for everything, but it sure worked for a lot of things in my life. And hey, it's the way I am. I'm not saying you have to love it or hate it, but it's how I am. And sometimes you just need that person to, you know, really take something to the next level. I might not be a Joel Hetrick, but um, you know, there's other things I know that I can do and make happen for the sport.
So let's get into our sport. I know we've been talking for quite a while about your event, and which is awesome. But 2024 held some ups and downs for you. You got injured and you battled your way back. Um, when you came back, did you come back too early, or was the comeback right at the right time?
No, the comeback was where it should have been. I think my problem that I haven't really set a peep on, that I only kind of found out less than 2 months ago, was the pain I had in my wrist really lingered. It was like a little bit when I came back, but enough to, like, I rode and it was like, listen, my season shot. I missed 4 races. Um, I was riding. It just, was it 100%? No, I was 90 to 95. But when you're missing that 5%, it's going to show. The problem that I had in the last 2 months is that pain lingered for a long time. And I went back for another MRI, and, or not another MRI, my only MRI. And I was only getting x rays, which just showed a broken wrist. Now, an MRI, what most people know, um, shows everything. And what I did in that, I want to say crash. I mean, I didn't come off, but we're going to call it a crash. What I did in that crash was, not only did I break my wrist, but I tore 2 ligaments in my wrist, which I never knew. I didn't know that at Briarcliff. I didn't know that at Loretta's. I didn't know it at all until after the fact. And I think I was just so confused of the pain of it's just it all just the whole wrist hurt. So it was really difficult to tell where the pain was coming from. But my wrist hasn't worked the same since, and I can't even bend it in certain ways now. It's kind of screwed up. I hate to say it. Um, the ligament tear, it's the UCL, which is the outside of your wrist, not my thumb side. It's the opposite side. It's basically that ligament that runs from like your pinky down to like your forearm along the edge. That tear of that ligament has been 10 times worse than breaking the bone. And that is 100% been my problem, and what I feel like has been holding me back. I feel now, late November, better than where I was in August. Way better. But that ligament is no joke to come back from. The bone, I would say, is fine. That bone feels totally fine. That ligament's not 100%. And, you know, going to the orthopedic, he's like, I'm not saying you need surgery. He's like, I don't want, he's like, I just don't think you need it. He said, because 95% of the time, this ligament will heal on its own. It just takes a long time, like could be a year. It's going to feel different. And he's like, hate to say, dude, but like, this is the new normal for you. You just got to get used to it and you'll slowly get better. This is kind of the new normal. And that's what I've been dealing with. But it's made a lot of sense because I can't do certain things the way I want to, that right this second. Not going to say forever. I mean, Wesley Wolf had a pretty serious injury years ago, and he's made great progress since. It just took him a while. Ken Roxon had a serious injury years ago on his arm and then ligaments, and he came back and he's doing great again. It took him a while.
So
Hopefully.
speaking of Ken Roxon, he is technically disabled.
Yeah, it's insane. Really, what he came back from is the worst than all of us. And you just don't realize it until you tear those ligaments, and your arm and wrist, they don't work the same. And I don't have any other explanation than that. It's just doesn't work the same. I can't do certain things the way I want. It's very close, probably almost unnoticeable for people to notice while watching riding. You're going to be like, oh, you look fine. My lap times are within, could be the same thing. They really could be. But I know certain sections that I could charge could be that little bit faster when I was normally to do it, and I just don't have the strength, or it just feels weird. it just doesn't work the same. I got no other words than that right this second. It's getting better. That ligament's no joke, man. I don't wish that upon anybody. That pain has been on me heavy for 7 months.
You got roughly 5 months before the first race. Is Nick Gennusa going to be back on the line 100% ready to do battle for 2025?
If the race was tomorrow, I'd race it. That's just how I am. If
That's
Daytona
not
was tomorrow, I'll
that
be back.
wasn't that
There's no,
wasn't my question.
I mean, where I sit right this second is better than what I sat at Loretta's. My wrist hurt me more at Loretta's than it did at Briarcliff. And I think that's just because, and Briarcliff was 3 weeks earlier or 2 weeks, whatever it was. Um, Briarcliff was my first race back, but I wasn't riding as much. And then I think maybe it was a combination of me ramping up the riding. And with this, it's like that wrist is so tricky. I'm just trying to learn it. Like I have a hard time. Sometimes I could do back-to-back days, and sometimes I wake up and it's like, what the hell is going on? Like it's like we were open yesterday for pit quad riding and pit bikes, and I rode all day with everyone, and my wrist was just on fire last night. Then I wake up today and it's all right. It's just I haven't figured out what triggers it yet, because sometimes riding doesn't trigger it at all. It's just certain things. I don't know. But I know I sit better now than where I was. So it's strength thing. The strength's coming back. The sport's very physical. You need that 100%. 95 gets you close, but doesn't cut it.
So you brought up the fact that you're 29 years old. What does the future hold for us having Nick Gennusa on the line for ATV as an ATV professional?
I can't give an exact answer because we think we know, but we don't. You know, it could be one more year. It could be 10 more years. I don't know. My guess is I will not be racing while I say Chad Wienen's age, almost 40. I don't know. I don't see myself racing professionally till I'm 40, unless the few things like drastically changed. I can't put a number on it. I just think into my early 30s. I'm just, and I think that now. I don't know. It's so hard to say. I take my racing right now year by year. I think I know myself, and I just don't. I have no idea. I take it year by year, man. So
That's
you know what? I bet a lot of other guys could say the same thing.
oh
That we're
yeah,
all
I
going year.
totally agree.
It's just life, like we all have this plan with certain things, but a lot of things in life don't go to plan, and a lot of things go sometimes even better than what you expected. Like just it just depends how my next few years go. If things going smooth, then you know I'll keep going. If shit hits the fan, then you gotta come out and do what you gotta do to survive in this world. I don't know. I go year by year right now. So
How's your dad?
he's good. He you know, he's not working anymore. He doesn't drive anymore. Life is very different for him, and really different for our whole family, life changing. My dad, I want to say, works with me now. I mean, he helps me out. He works with me now. So that, think about a guy that was pretty successful at a young age and the father of our family and the provider for all these years. And now he's like, I can only imagine what that feeling is for him. I think the biggest thing that I tell everybody is you got to keep him busy, because when that person that was doing everything for everybody and always felt like the provider and felt like people needed him, when you take that away from somebody, they don't feel needed anymore. So it's like, what am I here for? But he comes here, we got plenty of stuff to do, trust me. And I keep him busy. We have fun. It's not always smooth days. Tracks are tough. It's got its really good weeks. It's got its really bad weeks. It's very weather dependent, but I keep him busy. I give him a lot of little projects, but he still goes to his school and therapy stuff he does now, and he had to learn how to read again and write. It was just crazy, man. Just how much that can rock your family. Like, I mean, if it got worse than that, which knock on wood, I pray to God it doesn't, ever, then I'd have, in that kind of circumstance, I would just, I'd have to come out of racing. Not that I'm relying on him for respectfully anything right this second in my program. There'd just be a point where then that, without him being around, your whole family changes. You know, we all want to race quads forever. It's cool, but life hits you at one point, and we do it as long as we can. But you got to do. Your family is where it's at too, and I understand that. So again, year by year with the stuff.
I know that when I first met you, that it was right before your dad had um, the incident with your dad, and then I knew from talking to you what a big part of your life and program he was, and watching you over that year, you did have some struggles, but the man you've become, it's pretty amazing. You've stepped up and you've changed your whole world.
Yeah, no question about it. I think I'd said something at one of the banquets only 2 or 3 years ago to the kids, and I think it's because I simply went through it, and I feel like I knew how lucky I was to have a dad that like got me into racing at a young age, but that's the saying that hits just you. It'll hit you so hard when it really hits you. Of you don't know what you have until it's gone. And so many of the kids, not that it's their fault, don't know how lucky they are to have the parents that are taking them around the country to race quads, and they're driving them here. They're paying for the fuel, paying for the quads, whatever it may be. There's so many kids that would die to have that type of situation. And I think it's just something, and it's hard to instill this in like a kid's age because they're going to yes you to death. They understand, but they really don't. Um, is the appreciation, because they're not going to understand, and I hate to say it, until they don't have that. And they're like, oh man, like I can't get to the races anymore. But the fact that my father, got me to the races as a kid, and then, you know, helped me out quite a bit. And then pretty much when I was 17, 18 is when I started taking over my whole program slowly. Um, Started to own all the quads myself at 17, whether people believe that or not. I'm not going to tell you I owned it at 12. I didn't own anything I had at 12. I mean, you're a kid. God's taking the races. You can't even drive. So no, I didn't own anything as a kid. Pretty much from when I was 17-ish and up, I've owned everything quad wise. And my dad, was getting me to the races, paying for fuel. Not that it's anyone's business, but where it changed for me was when he came out. I'm gonna say came out, say like 3 or 4 seasons ago, I guess, whenever it is. And then you take on that 100% role of not only paying for your quads and your program, but now you're paying for an RV and the fuel to get to the races. And then the biggest thing, you're driving all the races 100% on your own now. You're not letting him drive or switching off drivers. This is 100% on you, and that's how my program is now. And I'm not complaining, but what a rough freaking transition that was for me to rely on my dad for like just the little things, not just talking money wise, but having a driver to get to the races, and he drove or whatever it was. Huge. Having someone like that was like making you dinner was huge at the races. When you were having a busy day working on your stuff and the food was ready, now it's like a busy day working on your stuff, and then you're just like the little things people don't think about until you go through it. And that's why that transition sucked for me. Just because there was no ease into it. It just went from this to just no more. But then again, I was 25, 26, and it's like, listen, if you can't figure it out now, dad just brought you to all these races for how many years? You've done this cycle how many times? You're an idiot if you can't figure it out. So I'm not going to be the guy. Oh, I came out of racing within a year because my dad couldn't pay for it. Like, no, figure it out. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy by any means. But from what I came from, the amount of experience in the years of racing, and just seeing how pretty much everything is done, I'd be more upset with myself if I couldn't continue. Like, it's just how I am. I'm not hard on myself, but I am hard on myself with stuff like that. So figure it out, you
I
know?
do understand exactly what you're saying about your dad. Unfortunately, we almost lost mine a week ago.
Oh, I'm
Uh,
sorry about that. I didn't know that.
yeah,
But
it
he's
was.
here.
Pardon?
But he's here, correct?
Yes, and
Is he all good?
he's getting better, getting better. He's 89 years old, and when you get older like that, little things can knock you off your pedestal, and knock you out of your happy circle, and that's what happened to him. And but we got him back and got him going again, and he's been our my brother is and I's idol for our whole lives. So I totally get it, totally 100% on your
God
page.
bless. Yeah, God bless. I'm sorry to hear that, but 89's a good life, and I hope he lives another 20.
Me too, because I can still go to him and ask him a question
Good.
and he answers it, or gives me a hint of what to, I'm working on a bike. I got a problem. I don't know what's going on. And I'll go talk to him about it. And when I walk away, I got 10 more ideas of things that I thought that I had tried already, you
Right.
know, it's pretty awesome to have that. And I'm glad that your dad's working with you now. And I understand life's changed, but it seems to me that it's grounded you in your manhood even more.
No question about it. They're just a very tricky couple years. And I'm not saying I have it figured out now. I mean, we all think we have it figured out. Every single one of us is winging it in some kind of way. There's no secret, but it's those first couple of years are you're really figuring it out. But yeah, this is life. It's not like this doesn't happen to anyone else. It's just what's the saying? It's life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it. And I feel like that's very true in itself.
I kind of agree to that. So you got a group of guys that you race with, I would say from 8 to 1. You're in that group. You guys are always battling for position. And beginning of last year, you were one of the picks that we had to run in the top three. I still kind of see that you could roll out in 2025 and be one of those three guys. Joel being a phenomenal rider and all that, he's taken on a new child, dimension, something's going to change in his program, and you guys are getting faster and faster every year. Um, does Nick Gennusa feel that he's one of those guys that could be in that top contender spot?
I do feel like I can. I think that I had a good start to last season. I feel like I was on a good track so far. I was fourth in points when I broke my wrist. 4 rounds in, I was on the track for my 10th year straight of a top 4 or 5, and you know, I think I got to fix a couple of little things in my program. Got to dial in suspension a little bit more. I'm not saying changing shock brands by any means. I'm going to stick with Fox, but focus a little bit more on some changes internally there. I'm going to try to change up quite a bit differently with my training off the quad. Diet, I think I'd like to change up a little bit more because I know that could be better. And I'd love to be, to keep it real, like, break a bunch of top threes. Joel, I know is very hard to beat. I know one thing that, nobody wins forever. He'll eventually, he's arguably the best. Um, he'll eventually see his time, like everybody. And not bashing him, just happens to everybody. Nobody thought Chad Weeney would ever lose. And, you know, eventually it goes away and we'll see. I don't sleep on Joel though, because he you know you could throw a bunch of stuff at him and another kid, he could have two more kids, he's still who he is. He does it well, and he makes it look easy, I will say that. But something that's kind of like, it hasn't like made me mad, but him being so good has kind of overshadowed everybody else and makes us look like we're not legit. I feel like sometimes where it's like you read some of the comments on stuff and like people don't get it. Like you don't think we're trying either. Like, like you don't think Bryce or Brandon or me or Weenan, like you don't think whoever, you don't think we're trying? Like we're all trying. Sometimes people are that good. Um, you know, he's got a phenomenal program, number one. But number two, I think if we were all on like actually the same quad, I think the results pretty much be where they are. I still feel like he would be the guy winning, but I think the results would be a lot closer. I think the racing would be, and I'm not saying his quad itself is why he is winning. He's who he is. Never going to take that away from him. I think he's got a phenomenal program and really, really good. They got really smart people involved, and I can see it in quite a few ways. But you know, he's hard to beat. I think that's my thing I'm getting at. He's hard to beat right now, and we'll see what the future holds for Joel. I give him a lot of credit though. He's a beast all around. But
Yeah.
yeah, me, I'd
Very
love
good.
to bring much more top threes and good hole shots, more different training, fix a couple things in the diet, um, and a couple of shot changes. I think will be huge for me.
Is the track that I see your videos on, is that your track, the one that you're riding on?
If it's that really bright orange looking sand, that's here. Yes. Oh yeah. So I do most of my riding here, and yeah, I would go to. I'd love to go and ride other tracks, but it's just hard to escape now. Like my life's changed so much, and my business relies on me, so I can't go spend 2 months at Deckers like everybody that goes. I love to be riding down south of everybody. Um, my business still goes through the winter. We got a lot of people that ride through the winter. So I can't really leave very easily. Um, I just can't. I'm not complaining. I mean, my track's legit. It's phenomenal. But yeah, I would like to be riding other stuff, but it's what it is. I make it work. I not everyone can go and spend 2, 3 months down south. I got to stay busy so I can make it too in my life. So I ride here and the track's phenomenal, but it's you got to deal with the cold.
So what do you think of Dustin Wimmer and John Natale decided to come out of retirement and race in the pro class?
I'm not surprised about John. John's for the most part, I know he's quite a bit older than Dustin by like 10, 12 years. John's always been involved and showed his face at the races and rode quite a bit. Dustin, I think, surprised everyone. I've actually built a pretty good relationship with Dustin over the last, say, 4 months, and we hang out, outside of riding now, which is really cool. I got dinner with him this past week. We only live like an hour 20 from each other, but I think we just never connected because, you know, our age difference at the time when I knew him, he was 20 and I was 12. So, or whatever the age, eight, I think we're 8 years apart. You're not going to connect at that point. But now 29 and 37, we can hang out.
Right.
But
Right.
he surprised me that he came out and rode because his like he hasn't rode in so long. He's just been off the map. Just such a famous guy for like his time. And it's so weird because he was never big on social media. So the only people that know him are the people that just saw him in person. He never continued with any like YouTube or Instagram, just nothing. Just pretty much fell off the face of the earth. And I'm not bashing him by any means. Um, he kind of fell off the face of the earth and then something resurfaced him. And I think that race resurfaced him at Briar Cliff. Someone talked him into it. His guy, Jeff, talked him into it. And then a couple rumors got around he was going to race and he was staying real under the radar with it. But, where am I going to practice for this? And then someone's like, hey, Nick Gennusa has a track, hit him up. And then someone gave him my number and then he texted me one day and we made it happen. And I re-met him 10 plus years later, which was kind of like one of the coolest things of this year for me was just reconnecting with somebody that I used to get posters of him. I took his riding school. I was like 12 years old and he was 20. I took a riding school of his at a local track here years ago. He doesn't remember. I remember. He doesn't remember though.
Well, the last time I saw him, he was fighting for a title with Doug Gust.
Yeah.
We were in New York. That's the last time I spoke to him.
Yeah.
And, I got to see him at Briarcliff, and one of the shirts hanging behind me, he autographed and gave me there at Briarcliff. And I was just, I was blown away that he would even,
Yeah.
it's not, I mean, it was just totally knocked me off my feet. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And,
Yeah. Nah, he's awesome. He's I've really just enjoyed spending time with him, and he's cool. He's smart, and I've talked this guy who's 6'2" into racing a mini quad with me next weekend, and he's all in. He loves it.
I
Well, I'll
hope
tell you what,
you get a
though.
picture.
You know where else him and I have connected? It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard for to twist his arm in that. He seems to really love it. He was really big into the pit bike world, and his wife and my girlfriend hit it off, and they talk and text and hang out, which is kind of cool too, because then it's just easier to kind of come together to just one of those,
Right. It is.
so
It is.
it's
That's so
cool.
awesome. Do me a favor, tell him he needs to come on the show.
I will. I can get him on. If I twist his arm hard enough, I can get him
Just don't hurt him. Okay.
on. Yeah, I got
Hey,
you.
Nick, I want to tell you, I always enjoy talking with you. You are a definitely someone that the social media people need to watch you more. They need to reach out to you more because you have a way of bringing it across that is direct and to the point, and I like that. I really like that. I hope you stay in racing for another 10 years, but if you don't, that's great as well. You're always welcome on ATV Talk, and we'll be promoting your Turkey Derby this week as well.
Thank you very much. And hey, even if I don't race another 10 years, I'm always going to be involved. I'm sure I'm going to stay involved quite a bit in every way I can. And I think for the sport, I think it's good to have good racers, but the next thing is getting the right people involved and not so much on the track. It's just getting people getting the events bigger, I think is big. I think some of these tracks just got to focus more on the fans and stuff, but be glad to help out with that down the road. Not retiring right now, taking it year by year. Remember, so
Well,
yeah, yeah, I
I
appreciate your
hope
time as well.
I hope some track promoters watch this and call you up and say, hey, as soon as you retire, you're going to be promoting races for me.
I hope Jeremy Osborne listens to this. We got to pass this to him. So I talk to him quite a bit. He knows that I'm a fan of everything he's doing. So
He's a good dude. I really,
he's a
really
great
enjoy
dude.
it.
Yeah, he's a humble guy too, which I like too. I always like people like that. So he's great.
It's awesome, brother.
Thank you.
Good luck on your Turkey Derby. Happy Thanksgiving. And anything you ever need, Nick, you just reach out. ATV Talks got it done for you. Okay, buddy? Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV Talk Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.